The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get started right here at the top of the hour. We only have a half an hour blocked for this. I'm not going to take a full half hour, so there will be time at the end for questions and answers. I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Steve Showalter. I'm Director of Sales and a partner here at ScanForce. I'm going to be the one presenting here today. Quick agenda, we're going to go through a ScanForce introduction. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of us or hopefully have heard of us, but I'll still give a quick rundown of who we are and what we do, as well as touching on the ScanForce solutions that we offer, going over our manufacturing suite, what we have for manufacturing. I'm going to also touch on the inventory requirements planning module, IRP. The reason that we're going to cover that today as well is we're getting a lot of companies that are moving off of the work order module onto production management that also have had solutions like work order efficiency package in the past. And there's quite a bit in IRP that even existed in work order efficiency that we're finding a lot of people aren't aware of. So we're going to go ahead and cover that as well, and then get into a demo of the two new ScanForce features we're going to be hitting on here today. One is our new make to order, and also our labor management console. And then again, as I mentioned, open it up for some questions and answers at the end here. So a quick rundown of who we are. So we develop mobile solutions that tie into ERP systems, specifically Sage 100 and Sage Intact. And our mobile solutions run on iOS and Android devices. And it's typically our solutions revolve around inventory control, from, again, manufacturing to true WMS. We've been around for a while. I'm just going to kind of highlight these things here, basically just to cite the fact that we didn't just come on the scene yesterday kind of deal. We have quite a few installs, and the one bullet point I'll point out here for those of you that aren't familiar with our solutions is the third one down here that talks about our solutions working in a connected and also disconnected environment. ScanForce solutions are truly mobile. So a lot of times we come across companies that have completely covered wireless areas in their warehouse. And that's great. ScanForce can be as real-time as you want it to be in that scenario. But we also, in real life, understand you can't have every square inch of your warehouse covered at most times. So ScanForce, again, allows you to function even if you're disconnected with data lookups and data validations. And then we just have some notable customers that use our software as well, not even just in the Sage arena, but also just utilizing our mobile platform. All right, so what does ScanForce have? So our main product line that most people are aware of is our WMS solution, and we have 3 versions of that. That starts off with some basic functionality related to receiving, shipping, or picking, inventory counts, transfers, things like that. But then we start to get into more advanced features with, well, advanced, and then even with premium, that includes multi-bin. So you have things like directed picking. We have a whole list of enhancements for this solution of ours, from container receipt management to which allows you to control shipments that are coming in from overseas, to wave picking, and so on. We also have a label printing solution that allows you to print labels and trigger those from directly within the mobile programs. Now, that typically centers around the receiving programs, but also, as we're talking about here today, manufacturing. You're making items, you need to make labels to put on your items. That's, again, seamlessly tied into our mobile programs. And even on the shipping side of it, if you have compliance label requirements, we handle that as well. And you can print your labels from within Sage. Moving on, touching on mobile sales here. That's our app that allows you to do things like just create sales orders, directly invoice somebody, do quotes or credit memos. Again, whether you're disconnected or connected, you can do this. You can print, which most people aren't doing these days, or email copies of the orders or invoices out to people, capture signatures, and even access existing orders in Sage to modify or add to. Now here, we're going to get into this in a little more detail on another slide, but on our manufacturing side of things, a quick rundown here. We automate bill of materials production entry. We still have people utilizing our work order automation, and then we get into production management. And that works with the DSD ScanForce multi-bin and includes our new labor management console, and we now have make to order. So touching on very quickly here, what makes ScanForce different than other solutions out there in the market? So the first one is speed. Again, if a lot of you are familiar with us, you've probably come across this. We've published this several times, but we loaded 1 million records into Sage. Took over a day, maybe even 2, I can't remember now. Bottom line is, with 1 million records, ScanForce returns a validation rate at less than 3/100ths of a second. So speed is important, not only in just launching the programs, but within the programs. You never want your solution slowing things down in a warehouse. On that line too, our solutions are extremely intuitive. One of the things we work really hard to accomplish is the avoidance of what do I do next, like I have listed here. You don't want somebody out on the shop floor or in your warehouse sitting there going, what am I supposed to go ahead and do now? What data am I supposed to capture? Our solutions are very easy and almost require no training on the mobile side. And speaking of training, that ties into our support department as well. We work very hard to make sure all of our customers are happy. We track our Net Promoter Score. It's a way to gauge how well we're doing. And in comparison to our industry, we rank well above the average for that. We have a full support staff and development team behind our solutions, and we're available by multiple ways, phone, email, connecting up remotely when necessary, and even if needed, we can go on site. All right, so let's get into a little more of why we're here today. Let's talk about what we offer for manufacturing. I referenced these a minute ago, but let's get into a little more detail here. So for bill of materials, we automate production entry, and we have two methods for that. One is a backflushing method. So on the mobile device, it would ask the user, what are you making? How many, or what are you assembling? How many? And then it's going to backflush all the components out based on what the bill says in Sage. The other option is to scan components. So it would ask the same question, what are you making? How many are you making? But then it's going to take the user through each one of the components and quantities so that they make sure that they pick everything or use all the items correctly as far as what's required based on the bill. We even have an enhancement for this, bill of materials picking or BOM picking, where you can actually stage components to be used for production. A lot of times people will use that when you're utilizing our multi-bin, where you might want to go get all those components out for assembly or production. Go grab them off the shelves, get them in one area, which would be a transfer into a production bin, for example, and then you can produce from there. I touched on work order automation a minute ago. We're not actively selling this, although we can. If somebody's stuck on work order, can't upgrade to production management, you could go with work order right now. And then there is a zero cost move to our production management automation. And with production management, we offer two versions. We have a full version, and then we're calling our basic or light version. The basic version is simply just the automation of a material issue completion or labor entry. Does not integrate with multi-bin or anything like that. You need our full version for that. And then our make to order. And we're going to show that here in a little bit as well. And also in production management, I mentioned it a minute ago, you're going to see today our labor management console. Now, as I mentioned a little bit ago in the going over the agenda, we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about IRP, just because we're finding people aren't aware of all that it can do. So I have some screenshots here to go over. It relates to production as well as purchasing. So if you're not familiar with this module basically tells you what you need to make or what you need to order. And when you launch it, this is what the screen looks like. At the bottom, you can see there's generate, and that will just go ahead and generate the list for everything. You can also do it specifically for production or for what you need to purchase. There's filters in here as well, so you can go ahead and narrow this down if you want to, but this is the main screen that allows you to generate what needs to be made or what needs to be purchased. Now, if we're looking here, based on my demo data in my system, this is what it pulls up as far as what I need to make. It takes into consideration what's on orders, what is in stock, but also looks at sub-assemblies. So it'll also tell me then what I need to make based on what sub-assemblies may be tied to a particular work order. Or sorry, work ticket, old habits die hard. Here's where I changed my view to all. If you see in the top left there, it says include, that switches to all. So it's not just the items I need to make, it's everything. And it lists out, and you can see there's the quantity recommended, production quantity, on hand, and so on. So this is where I can see every single item listed out. When I drill into a specific item, if you see item code there, it's at desktop. So it's Tower Desktop Computer System. I looked at that one, I drilled into the details. Now this shows me information related to sales orders and work tickets. And you can see it's a parent item for a work ticket there, and it lists out all of my quantities accordingly. So this is where now you start to get an idea of what you might need to make or what you might need to get for this item. Going back just for reference here, this is back to that list of items that I need to make as well. So that was looking at a specific item that doesn't necessarily have a quantity that needs to be made, but I can dive into that and see where that item is related to as far as work tickets and sales orders. Here, I'm going to drill into that chassis there. It's the second item down or middle item down. When I look at that, you'll see here that item is required as a sub-assembly of the document here, which is actually a work ticket. So it's work ticket for material. And that work ticket is 95024. So I actually get to see now this item is required based on another work ticket. You can see here, you can actually switch that to order, and then when it creates the work ticket, it'll actually reference that particular order. So you see in IRP why you need to make it, but it doesn't tie that to an order. If I switch that there, make to order, it'll actually link the new work ticket for this chassis to the original work ticket as well. And I show you that here with this screenshot here. So this is where the work ticket was created for the subassembly, and you can see down at the bottom there where I have that big orange arrow. That's the work ticket that was the parent item, if you will. And then at the top there, it's created the brand new work ticket for those components. All right, so that was for the production side of things. Again, just wanting people to see that you can actually see what you need to make. You can see for an entire item, if it's on multiple orders, for example, then you would be able to see how many you need to make. So it basically drives that demand on what I need to make. On the other side here now, IRP also allows you to see what you might need to buy. So this looks at sales orders, your manufacturing, and also reorder points then. So you can actually see this is my items to purchase. Hopefully that's big enough for everybody to see that. That's what that window is titled there. And you can just see, once again, I need to buy for either a sales order, or in the second line down says work ticket material. So I need to buy for a work ticket. So you can see what you need to buy as well, and even generate. So backing up a step, when you select your work tickets there, or once you're looking at IRP, you can generate the work tickets right from IRP. So if I have a list of, again, multiple orders that have the same item on them and that demand is there, I can go ahead and say, now generate my work tickets for that item so I can make that and fulfill my orders. On the purchasing side, same thing. You can create POs directly from IRP.
Steve, we have a quick question. Maybe you can clarify. It says, is this the Sage IRP module or ScanForce version of IRP?
Great question. To clarify, it is the Sage module. So really, IRP that I'm showing you guys has nothing to do with ScanForce, other than we need people to understand that some of the features that people feel that they're missing when they look at production management, because they had work order and work order efficiency package, a lot of that was actually built into IRP. So we want to make sure people can see how you can leverage IRP as you move from work order on to production management. Now, kind of summarizing here then, with dynamic inventory, you can actually have the items that come in from purchasing to automatically be issued to the work ticket. Those boards that I was showing you guys there, they're referred to as a production board and purchasing board. So you can actually, when you're in that, move an item from production to purchase. Let's say you realize I don't have time to make this item here, but I can purchase it, and there's a vendor tied to the item. You can actually switch that item from production to a purchasing IRP board, and then when you generate your POs, it'll go ahead and do that. And the vice versa is also true there. You can move from purchase to production if you find where you can actually, you do have time to assemble that. You can go ahead and get that done there. There's an option in IRP where you can actually put an item on hold. It doesn't mean that item's gone and it's not going to be used ever again. All that does is it allows you to filter it out and say, don't take this item into account when you're creating my work tickets or my purchase orders. I know I have a demand for it, for example, but I don't want you to take that into account. I want to just go ahead and create my work tickets or POs without that item taken into account. All right, now let's get into showing you guys the ScanForce side of things here. So again, that's just a summary of what Sage has in the IRP module. I'm going to go ahead and actually just get out of my PowerPoint here, and I'm going to pull up my Sage system. First thing I want to get into today here on our side of this is our make to order. So what this does is it allows you to generate a work ticket right from sales order entry. So you don't have to go into IRP, you don't have to look at all that other stuff. Right from your sales order entry, you can go ahead and create a work ticket. Now, the first thing you would need to do is, if I go into inventory management here in item maintenance, let's just pull up my first item. Say okay here. So the first thing is procurement. There's now a make to order. It's there. So the item itself has to be set as a make to order item. And really, we say make to order, it's really make for an order, make for a sales order. So this is where you make sure your items that you want to have the ability for this is tied to it based on item maintenance here, make to order. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, now in sales order, under sales order options, you'll see here there's work ticket integration. So this is tying back to our solution here now, where you have your integration method. I have mine set, that you'll see here in a minute, as prompt. So it's going to prompt me to generate the work ticket. You can disable it so it doesn't do anything. It can automatically do it. So it's not going to ask me anything. It's just if an item is set for generating work ticket, then it automatically creates the work ticket. I don't have to do anything else. Or prompt, as I mentioned, it's going to ask me create the work ticket, or manual, where there's a button you could then click when you did want to actually create the work ticket. You can have it set to copy from bill of materials. So instead of having to go into the work ticket, when you select that, you can have it set to bill of materials or template. So when it automatically creates that, it automatically goes and grabs that. And then your default work ticket class is a setup option here. Status, I have mine set to released. This was a drawback to work order. We had a solution for this to automatically release a work order. Now with production management, you can automatically have the status be released, so you can actually do things against it. And then it can be set to automatically open up the work ticket after you create it. So you don't have to have it set. If you have it unchecked, then creates the work ticket, just doesn't pull it up on my screen. So this is some of the settings here. And again, this is under sales order options. Now let's go in and actually create a sales order and have it generate a work ticket for me. So we'll grab a new sales order. Let's just grab Carter's Computers here. All right, so we have our customer creating a sales order just as we always would. I'm going to go ahead and pull up an item here, and I am going to use, where is it? My desktop computer system. So I'm going to select this item here, and I'm going to say I need to order 50 of these. I don't have enough in stock, which is fine. We know that because we're going to be making these. Say OK, go through. By the way, this is where you could generate the work ticket if you did this manually, but I'm going to go ahead and tab through. I have options set for this item. So let's go ahead and grab our ridiculously dated examples here that Sage has. Eventually, we're going to run into situations where people have no idea what these things even are. So let me just go ahead and select all these. All right. So that's based on the options that are set. Now, over on another screen, let me pull this over. It pops up and asks me, do you want to create a work ticket for this item? So I say, yes, I do. At this point, now it's going to create the work ticket and pull it up for me. So this is where that option, if I had that set to not automatically launch or open it, it wouldn't do that. At this point, it would just go ahead and I can close out the sales order and be done, but the work ticket was generated. So you can see all my information populated because we copied from the bill of materials when we generated this. And if you notice here, it also automatically references that sales order. So here's the sales order we're doing, automatically references that. The sales order isn't officially closed yet. Once you actually accept the sales order, then the customer number also populates. But this is our work ticket. Again, automatically generated right from sales order. Hit accept. Over here, you can see now on this line, I'm back in the sales order now. So this is the sales order here. We're referencing the work ticket number here as well already. So go ahead and accept. And now it's been created.
Steve, I got a couple quick questions on this.
Yeah.
If you copy from bill of materials, will it bring in template associated with bill of materials?
Yeah, that's standard production management functionality there. So if that's how you have your production management set to create work tickets, then it's pulling just the standard functionality there.
And what is the name of this feature?
Make to order. ScanForce, make to order.
Okay, that's all.
All right. So that's our make to order. The next thing I want to show you guys is our labor management console. So what we've done here is, if some of you are familiar with our dashboards and management console for our WMS, it's very similar here. I have this pulled up here, and I have some transactions that I created earlier today. So this is related to labor, okay? What it does is it allows you to see who's clocked into work tickets and who's doing what before it's sent back over to Sage. So it gives you the ability to modify or just simply change the data prior to submitting over and creating the labor entry back in your Sage system. Now, you can hide columns, add columns. I have this configured, so it's pretty easy to see here. You have the status here, transaction date, employee first name, last name, crew number, device, and so on. What I have here also is you can see people that have clocked in and then clocked out, and there's their time here. Anything highlighted yellow is somebody who's actively in a work ticket. And you can even do a sort. So if I wanted to see, all right, my start time, I click on this column and it'll filter that for me. So I can go ahead and see either the first people clocked in or reverse order. And again, you can hide columns, drag, drop columns, whatever you want to see here. So at this point, let's go ahead and pull up our mobile program. And this should look familiar to most of you. This is the way our app looks whenever you launch it. There's a user login. One of the reasons we see people liking this labor management console is that it doesn't require a Sage user. So you don't have to have somebody. You've always been able to look at this data back in Sage before you post or update, but this allows people to get into this without actually tying up a Sage license. So our mobile devices don't either. You can password protect it, and even it supports multiple companies. I'm going to hit accept. Here's our main menu, launch manufacturing. So I have bill of material transactions here. I'm not going to show you those. Those are just for demo purposes. I'm not going to get into the material issues. We have other webinars we've done on that. You can find those on our YouTube channel, even completions as well. Now for labor tracking, we have two options. So you can simply do a data entry of labor tracking, applying labor to a work ticket. Or what we find most people like to use is this time clock, clock in and clock out, okay? So first thing you would do is give an employee ID. A lot of our customers have their employees set up with badges they can scan. Let's just go ahead and grab Elizabeth here. Now, it's going to want to know what work ticket you're clocking into. A lot of our customers utilize a traveler, an actual printed off copy. On that traveler, they barcode the work ticket number and the step number all in one barcode. So they simply scan that, and our solution recognizes that and will not ask you for both pieces of information. Otherwise, you would have to enter both. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here and grab this last work ticket. Again, it's going to prompt me for my step number. If that's already barcoded, then it won't ask me for that. All the step numbers associated with this work ticket show up here, so you select what you're working on them, say accept, and here's where it's now defaulting the date and time. Now, you can allow the user to change this on the device, or we can lock that down. So if they're allowed to change it on the device, then obviously you still want to maybe review it over here in the labor management console, but it allows some flexibility there. Most of our customers are locking that down. If changes need to be made, they're doing it back here. But I'm just going to simply clock in, sends it over. Now this does auto refresh, but for the sake of the demo here, I'm just going to click refresh, and you'll see now Elizabeth Gomez has clocked in. Now on the flip side of that, when somebody needs to go clock out, you can go ahead and do that right from the device, and it'll know what that you're already clocked in. So let's clock Wayne Brown out here. Let's make sure we're in the right work ticket. So let's go ahead and get Wayne. He's in work ticket 95015. I'm cheating obviously by looking at these just to make sure. So she's in that first one there. And then he's on step number 40. So it knows he's already clocked in. Now again, this can be locked out here, so you can't change this, but also when you're clocking out of a job or a work ticket, sorry, you can actually indicate quantity completed and say 10, and the status we update then as well, say completed, and we clock out. All right. Now we do a refresh. Now, we look at this and we say, all right, I'm doing this and I'm checking over all my employees. You can see it updated there when I did a refresh. And we look at this and we see, wait a second here. This shows that he was clocked in from the 28th all the way through the 29th. If that needs to be changed, then you can actually pull that up here and you can change that right here. This is part of where you can modify these things on the actual, within the labor management console. Now, when I want to send this back over to my Sage system, let's say at the end of the day or halfway through the day or whatnot, I can go ahead and simply just submit selected. So I can select all, and it'll automatically not select the ones that are still being worked on here. And if I wanted to, I could go through and deselect these if I wanted to also. But what I can do is, let's say I'm going to go ahead and submit selected. Double checks, make sure I'm sure. I say yes. And now that sends that back over to my Sage system, recording that under production management, labor entry. And here's the last one that was recorded. The other thing we do in our management console here is you have a transactions section. So here's all of the transactions, not just for labor, but you can see there's some material issues here. So you can actually go in and mine this data also. So you can go ahead and filter. Once again, you can hide columns. You can go ahead and search. So I can go ahead and say, all right, I want to look at this all, and let's go ahead and type in. So we can go ahead and search here as well. So there's text filters. You can even just start typing in up here as well. So if I wanted to type in, and it would filter, well, they all start with 95. So then it would go through, it's all in the same order. But you can go ahead and filter searching for a particular item if you wanted to. If any of the items are lot or serial tracked, you'd go in here and find a serial number or a lot number. You can do it by date as well. And then you even can save that. So if you configure this where you have certain columns set for yourself you want to look at, you can save that then. We have other ones saved here as well. So you can name it and save it. So you can simply get back into that very quickly. And you can even export this data to whatever file format you need. So you can kind of build reports here and see what people are doing as well. So once again, you have your labor tracking. over here, and then you have your transaction section as well. And this is included with our production management automation full version. All right, so that wraps up what I want to show you guys. We'll open it up. If you guys haven't already, if you do have questions, type those into the questions section, not the chat section of the GoToWebinar there.
Okay, first question is this data stored in Sage or a SQL database? And then there's a follow-up question from that same person. I'm referring to the detail labor postings.
So this is the SQL database that we're maintaining here, our management console, but then we're pushing it back and creating it back in Sage. So the items, the bills, the work ticket settings, all of that for production management are all maintained within Sage. This is just the data that's been collected with ScanForce. You have the ability to come in here and see this and again manipulate the labor tracking here prior to sending it over to your Sage system.
Okay, next question. It says, making sure I understand. Sage offers operations management, which is MTO, and has a lot to in since it has already been around a while. Now ScanForce is offering make to order, which is a very simple option for customers that might not need all the details from operations management.
Yeah, whoever wrote that, thank you. That's a very concise summarization of, yeah, we've had that, and that's been one of the driving forces, people feeling as though they were being forced into looking at operations management, and they only needed some simple features that, one, exist within IRP, but then two, that make to order we've added now. So it's a very straightforward, simple solution to accommodate that.
Okay, next question. JobOps/ScanCo also requires users and partners to take a certification course. Is there a similar requirement for make to order?
No.
Does this work with Sage Premium?
Yes. These are easy ones. Good.
Come on, challenge him a little, guys. All right, Management Console is part of what module or what program? I'm sorry.
So the labor management console is part of our production management automation. So PM automation from ScanForce.
Does this SQL data transfer to the older Mass 90 database?
No.
Will it upgrade to PM 2022 when Sage rewrites the table names/codes?
Yes.
Can you automate the posting into Sage, i.e. schedule?
So yes, you can auto post the transactions. So you can auto post material issues, you can auto post completions within ScanForce, and the labor transaction.
Great questions. We don't have any more. That can't be all. Compliments, concerns, anything?
And just I'll comment on other parts of our we have a couple minutes here. So with our full version, you can do things like change the work center, the activity code, change departments. You can do that right from within ScanForce when you're doing things like labor tracking under material issues. It works, it has that auto post. Even if you're not using auto post, we have features like a batch select. So if you want to import into a specific batch, we can prompt for that. Allowing you to issue non-work ticket materials are there. Even remaining quantities being displayed. Those are some of the features we built into our full version. And like our label printing, like I mentioned earlier on, does integrate with like completions. When you're doing completions, you can print labels, capturing scrap when you're doing completions as well. So there's quite a bit we've built into that already.
All right, they're rolling in again. Can users query the behind the scenes SQL database?
No, we don't really allow that, I guess, and we could handle that on a case-by-case basis.
All right, great demo, excellent solution, excellent. Thanks for the compliments. Is make to order an add-on to PM or a separate product?
It's an actual standalone product. So it's actually if you're adding that, if you have our WMS and our PM automation, then it's just $19.95 to add on. So one, it's a standalone option, but it's only $19.95 to add it to that. If you just have our PM automation, and we can send you this information, you don't have to remember all of this, but there's an option then to just add it to our PM automation. It's $24.95. If somebody doesn't want anything from ScanForce, they just want to do this as a completely standalone product, it's $39.95. And we sell perpetual, so there is the ongoing 25% maintenance and support that we charge on all of our solutions. But yeah, you can buy it standalone.
Is there a way for employees to enter their labor with piece rate labor costs instead of hours?
Ask that again.
Oh, I just deleted it. Hold on. Is there
Instead of the clock in, clock out, is that what the question was basically?
I don't know. I'm going to answer another one while I'm looking for that one. There's a lot.
Well, I'll show this. So this is our labor tracking where you're actually just entering in labor. So, you select your employee ID and you can log in as a crew or as an employee. So you can log in. What work ticket are you working against? What step? And then you'll see here, it's just basically one big start and finish time here. So I guess maybe the question was, instead of it doing a start time and stop time, yeah, we could adjust that to actually just be a quantity that you're applying to that.
All right. Well, we still have quite a few questions. I think Steve's still available, but I did want to, just let everybody know if you have to go and you answer the question, we'll make sure to respond to you individually, but we can probably keep going, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. And we will have the recording available hopefully this afternoon and email that out to everyone. So does this solution allow you to, quote unquote, reserve inventory for an order that is shipping at a later date?
So the work ticket itself can be tied to the sales order. As far as like allocations are concerned, though, if you're talking about multi-bin, at this time, no. We anticipate things like that being available once Sage is managing the code of production management, where we can actually tie in allocations like we do for sales orders, where it's actually reserved from a location, a certain quantity and whatnot. But at this time, no, it doesn't do it in that method.
Is there a full feature version of make to order designed to compete against operations management?
No, we're not trying to necessarily compete with operations management. I know that is one of those things that, again, as I mentioned, and somebody had asked, it's a common thing we've been asked for, but we're not trying to look at operations management and duplicate that as a full solution. So there's no set plan at this moment to do that.
Can you still backflush labor with this?
Yeah, you don't have to use, if you're not capturing the labor here within our, yeah, I mean, we have companies that use just our material issues and completions and don't do anything with labor.
All right, great questions, guys. This is awesome. We've got about 4 or 5 more. When do you think that operations management is more appropriate?
From what I've seen, when somebody has a truly custom manufacturing solution, like we have a customer that's one of our parent company, Business Computer Associates. They make refrigeration units for like hotels and restaurants and things like that. And it's literally a custom configuration based on what the customer needs. That's probably a good fit for that. More so than just, hey, I have these items, I need to now just make them. So yeah, I'd say when it's truly custom from my experience.
Any dashboards planned for work tickets?
Great question. Absolutely. I actually was in a meeting this morning where that was discussed, where our graphical widgets like we have on the WMS side, we're looking to build those out. We're actually looking for input on that too, because there's about a million different ways we can go with that. One of the first things we see ourselves doing is adding more of like a KPI graphical display of that, seeing who's not only just logged in, like we show you in the labor management console here, but from a graphical standpoint, how long are they in a work ticket? How much are they producing? Even down to how many items are they issuing? So you can actually see, is somebody loafing it? Are they just really busy? Why is somebody producing more than somebody else? That kind of stuff will all be in graphical widgets.
Does this build on Sage (ScanCo) production management? Still confused on that.
So the intellectual property for production management is Sage Software's. ScanCo just simply was the contractor that did that and then put their name all throughout it as well. So this integrates with the Sage module production management.
Okay, I think you answered this, but can reports be written from the SQL tables?
So the way that it works right now, and again, this is one of those things that if somebody's interested in this, I encourage you to contact us directly. We can work out what you're trying to do with it and whatnot. I mean, we lock down the behind the scenes side of it, but you can go ahead and build reports off of this right here by just creating filters of what you want. If you want to look for a certain date or again, a certain item or a particular work ticket and see what's done with that, you can go ahead and do that. And then you can export that data out if you want to. So this is, again, from the data collection standpoint here. You can do that within our transactions sections of our management console. If there's any other request on that one, again, I would encourage you just to reach out directly. My email is steve@scanforce.com, or you can reach us at info@scanforce.com.
All right, our last question that we have is from Cooper Black. Does Steve always talk this fast?
Cooper, this is slow, man. I've only had 2 cups of coffee today. You got to know that.
That's all the questions.
Awesome. Well, hey, everybody, I appreciate you all taking time to look at this today. I encourage you to ask us if you need or contact us if you need additional pricing, additional information, or to set up a demo with one of our reps. So thank you guys again for taking time to look at this. All right, everybody have a great day.